Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right in marketing only to see little to no results? The truth is, you might be following advice that is holding you back without even realizing it. So today, I'm going to bust 5 of the biggest marketing myths that could be sabotaging your success. And trust me, you're not alone in following them. The marketing myth is widely believed a completely false idea of what is working in the world of marketing. And thanks to the internet, there is no shortage of misinformation out there. And I've seen it myself that these myths often come from people who haven't actually gotten their hands dirty. So there's a lot of creators out there who haven't even gotten their hands dirty, but they're trying to convince you to follow their advice, and they're really convincing in doing that. But if you follow their advice, it can lead to frustration, wasted time, and even a loss of reach, awareness, or money. And for solopreneurs or small business owners, this can be especially overwhelming because without a strong marketing background, it is easy to follow outdated or simply wrong strategies without really noticing it. And now you might ask yourself, so why should I listen to you? Well, I got my hands dirty in the marketing world. I've been doing it for over a decade. I've been running marketing campaigns across multiple industry. I build social media accounts. I'm creating content strategies. I'm experimenting with tools such as AI to really improve marketing and marketing efficiency. And I've seen firsthand what's working, what's important, and what's not working. And I have also been where you are. I know what it's like to feel completely overwhelmed by conflicting advice and waste time on strategies that don't really pay off. I want to help you to cut through the noise, avoid the mistakes that I have made in the past, and focus on what really drives results. And I'll admit it, I followed a few myths that are totally waste of my time. But for a long time, I was under the impression that you have to be on every social media network. And I try to post daily on Instagram. I try to make videos on YouTube. I was tweeting. I was creating Facebook content. I was creating blog content. And it left me completely burned out. I felt overwhelmed. I felt frustrated. My efforts really were paying off because I was trying to be everywhere and I spread myself super thin. And then eventually, I realized that success doesn't come from trying to be everywhere. Success doesn't come from you penetrating every single social media channel. But instead, it's about focusing on 1 or 2 platforms, truly mastering them, truly understanding them, and building a strong presence, connecting with your audience before you're expanding to other channels. And once I shifted my focus, not only did I feel less stressed, but I started to see actual real results. But that's just one of the many examples on how a myth can lead you down the wrong rabbit hole, and why busting this myth is so important. Here are my 5 marketing myths that might be holding you back. And number 1, let's start with a big one. You have to post every day to be successful. If you've been scrolling through social media advice, you've probably heard this one before. Probably not once, probably not twice, but 1,000 times. It's a common belief that the more you post, the better your chances of going viral, the better your chances of attracting more followers. On the surface, of course, this makes total sense because more posts equal more eyeballs, right? Well, that's not exactly the truth. A lot of creators and influencers perpetuate this idea, encouraging people to post as much as possible. For example, some say you should post up to 15 times a day, you should post up to 5 times a day, you should post up to 10 times a day, and it's easy to see why this resonates with so many people. If one post gets you some engagement, then obviously, logically, more posts multiply your chances of success. But here's the thing. Just because something sounds logical doesn't mean it's effective. And this strategy can be harmful because when you think about posting 15 times, it can really affect your mindset and you say, I just need to crank out content, and it ends up being really mediocre. So you're sacrificing the quality of your post for the quantity of the post. So the quality is somewhere over there in the backseat. Hello, quality, but quantity is driving, and we don't really want that. Seen this on accounts of business owners. They're just cranking out tons of content because I heard it somewhere, and they feel so pressured to meet this unrealistic posting schedule that they start posting anything and everything under the kitchen sink. And the results, mediocre content that does not resonate with your audience and can even damage your reputation. Because people see your content that's like, well, this is really like bad advice or shitty content, like I don't want to follow that person. And social media is not just about showing up, but how you show up. And let's not forget how time consuming this approach is. I'm creating my videos for small business owners, solopreneurs, individuals that are trying to build a business. So if you think about you just one person, one show, if you post 15 times a day, it's crazy because this is your full-time job, creating content. And if you just focus on creating content and trying to create high quality content, you don't have time to pursue other things. But don't get me wrong. If you have the resources, if you have a bigger team, if you have a social media manager, social media coordinator, or someone who can help you with the post, I would say go for it. Post 5 times a day and see where it gets you. But for most business owners, it's not about volume, it's about value. So every piece of content you post out there should serve a purpose, should be connecting with your audience. So you should ask yourself, is this content educating my audience? Is this making them laugh? Is this solving a problem? Is my piece of content motivating someone? And if the answer is no, then do not post it. Posting for the sake of simply posting does not help anyone, because social media, it's about creating meaningful connections. So here's what I recommend. Start with a content calendar to map out your strategy. Define your goals for each platform and the type of content you want to post. For example, on Instagram, aim for a mix of reels, story, in-feed posts, and carousel posts. Next, you want to align the post with a specific goal. So for instance, do you want to create brand awareness? That would be top of funnel. Or do you want to nurture your leads? That would be middle of funnel. Or do you want to convert your potential clients into customers? That would be the bottom of funnel. You also want to be flexible enough to jump on trends that align with your brand, but only if they enhance your overall strategy. At the end of the day, marketing is not a one-size-fits-all solution. You have to find what works best for you. But as a general rule of thumb, posting 3 times a week with high quality, value-driven content can be enough to grow your channel. Myth number 2, you need a huge budget to run ads online. A lot of people assume that you need tons of money to run online ads because they've seen that Apple is running online ads or Coca-Cola is spending millions of dollars on a Super Bowl ad. And while those massive budgets really grab headlines, they also can create a lot of misconceptions that success with ads is only possible if you're spending a large amount of money. And I also think this belief is just coming from the fact that a lot of people are not transparent about what they're spending. And of course, I understand why, but there's generally speaking a lack of transparency. Many creators, business owners, they don't share real details on what it takes to run an efficient marketing campaign, whether it's online, offline, and especially if you're new to digital ads, it's easy to think that you need thousands and thousands of dollars to make an impact. And without really knowing the key factors such as cost per click, cost per impression, how to structure a campaign, it's no wonder why you feel overwhelmed and you have no idea where to start. And the belief that it takes a lot of budget to run marketing campaigns can be very harmful because it stops small business owners, solopreneurs, individuals from even getting the feet wet and trying online ads. I've seen so many people get burned out because they didn't know how to set up their campaigns properly. They used all of their budget on a single ad, on a single ad set, and they didn't see any results. So they decided, you know what, that is not working. Online ads are not working. I've been running ads for over 10 years, and let me tell you, it's not about how much money you spend, but it's about how you structure the campaign, how you allocate the money that you have. So the key is knowing your end goal. Are you trying to generate leads? Are you building brand awareness? Are you trying to get video views? Are you trying to drive people to your website? Ultimately, the objective is shaping your entire strategy, including how you allocate your budget and where you allocate your budget to. If you're just starting out, you don't need a massive budget to see results. So for example, I always say if you're new to advertisement, start on Facebook. Facebook is super easy. The ads manager is very easy to get started. And you can get started with as little as $20 or $50 per campaign. You can allocate a daily budget of $10 or $20 towards an ad just to test it out. And once you see what's working, you can put more money behind what's working. If you're a little bit more experienced, I would say try out Google. The budget can be a little bit higher depending on your keywords and the niche that you're in, the niche of your business. But if you're running a lead generation campaign, instance in California with a keyword that is high intent, it could be up to like $400 or $500 a day to see any results. But whereas you can run a video campaign on YouTube and you can spend a very small budget because the cost per view is about a cent or 2 cents. But the truth is that not all platforms are created equally for smaller budgets. When you're working with limited resources, I definitely recommend Facebook ads. The algorithm is incredibly smart at finding the right audience for you. And platforms such as LinkedIn and Google, they're more expensive and they require more expertise to optimize. And if you're thinking about TikTok, because TikTok is like trendy and a lot of people are on it, while I think it's a super great platform, it requires a lot of creative assets. You have to test effectively and you have to test a lot of creatives very quickly. Start small and test. Begin with one campaign on Facebook, set up the ad, set up the goal. So for example, if you have $50 that you can allocate towards your Facebook ads, monitor very closely and see what works before you want to scale it. On Facebook, I always recommend keep your targeting options open because Facebook is a very highly trained algorithm. So it's finding the audience for you. So do not overly narrow it down. Of course, if you are bound to a zip code, to a state or to a region, of course include this, but stay away from layering multiple interests. So check your campaigns daily, especially at the beginning. Make sure that you're not overspending and you're even getting traction on your ad. Look at metrics such as cost per lead, cost per click, cost per 1,000 impressions. You also want to define your goal. So are you aiming for awareness? Are you aiming for video views, leads, conversions? And the clearer you set the goal, the easier it will be for you to structure and optimize your campaign and to understand what type of budget is required. In my experience, I've managed ads with budgets ranging from a few $100 to $10,000s. And the same principle always applies. You want to start small, you want to optimize, you want to see what's working, and then you want to scale it. For instance, I once worked on a campaign. It was about $50 a day for a budget on Facebook, tested different creatives, and really letting the algorithm do its work, identified the winning ad, and then just scaled it from there, which delivered impeccable results. So you can achieve all of this without really breaking the bank. Now let's tackle another frustrating myth, and that is myth number 3. Marketing results should be instant. I've heard variations of this so many times, and I can guarantee that my fellow marketers out there are nodding along. The idea that you will see marketing results or instant results, instant success, the moment you hit the publish button, or that the ad will magically start bringing in leads the second you launched it, is a widespread misconception. In my experience, this myth is usually coming from people who are very new to marketing or that simply do not understand the process. For people who never really set up a campaign or really worked on any campaign, they just see the publish button. So they think as soon as you hit the publish button, that means go, right? So you should see the results instantaneously. They don't usually realize that there's an approval process, especially when it comes to ads. They need to be approved first before they run, and then they need to reach your audience before you see any traction. And for me, it's like expecting a meal to be ready the moment you turn on the stove. And that's just impossible. And this myth can be so harmful for a few reasons. So first, if your results don't come right away, people assume that your strategy isn't working. And I've seen small business owners and solopreneurs give up entirely on running online ads because they did not see the quick wins. Even when their campaign were actually on the right track, but because they were impatient, it's not working. For marketers, this mindset creates unnecessary pressure. I can tell you how many times I've had to answer questions like, why aren't the ads delivering yet, or why haven't we seen any leads yet? And the truth is that it takes time. You have to be patient. It's only been a few hours since the campaign is live, so you got to be patient. It's all about managing expectations and understanding that Rome wasn't built in a day either, and neither are your successful campaigns. The reality is that once an ad is approved and it's running, it usually takes a full day to really be able to assess the initial performance. If there's no engagement or delivery after 24 hours, that's a sign that there might be something off. So either it's your targeting, it's your budget, the creatives. To assess a campaign, to really understand whether something's working or not, it takes 3 to 4 days, because you need to wait for the results to roll in to really assess. So when I say results, I talk about metrics such as click-through rate, cost per 1,000 impressions, and cost per lead. If you are constantly tweaking your campaigns, if you are turning them off prematurely, you'll never give them the chance to flourish. So here's how you can avoid falling into the instant result trap. You have to understand the process. You have to understand that every ad goes through an approval process by the platform. So don't expect results the second you hit the publish button. You need to give it time to get approved and start serving. You also want to monitor your metrics very closely. Once the ad is live, once it's delivering, you want to wait a day, and then you want to assess the performance. You want to look at indicators such as impressions, reach, click-through rate, to make sure it's delivering. And then give your campaign another 3 to 4 days to really get more data before you make any decisions. Because at the end of the day, you want to make data-driven decisions. So you want to look at let's say you run an awareness campaign, you want to focus on CPM, so cost per 1,000 impressions. If you're driving a conversion campaign, you want to look at cost per lead, you want to look at the click-through rate, and you want to set realistic expectations. Remember, marketing is a long game. It's about optimizing and building over time, not achieving overnight success. If running digital ads would be that easy, everyone won't be doing it. Myth number 4, more followers equal more sales. At a first glance, this seems logical, right? No. The more followers you have, the more influence you must have is a total misconception. In fact, I would argue that focusing too much on your follower count can hurt your strategy. The thing is, people always assume that big numbers means big success. The larger your follower count, the more they think, wow, this person must be killing it out there. But social platforms have evolved. Social platforms have shifted from a follower-based algorithm to an interest-based algorithm, meaning your content is shown to people who are more likely to care about your content rather showing it to your followers. So let me share a story with you. Back in about 2014, 2015, I worked as a digital marketing manager for a skincare company. And we decided to collaborate with an influencer for the holiday season. Back in the days, still now, but back then, influencer marketing was really up and coming. And since this influencer marketing was booming, we thought, it's a great idea for the holidays to pair with an influencer to really boost sales. So we choose an influencer with a good amount, a YouTube following, to create a custom lip bundle. So a great match. She was a beauty influencer. I thought that's great, but it wasn't a perfect match. The bundle flopped like crazy. We later realized that the influencer's following weren't actually engaged followers or people who were remotely interested in her content or her recommendation. In hindsight, of course, we should have asked for more questions, for more insight from that person, more about her audience. We didn't. So this was a definitely valuable lesson, that the follower count doesn't really say anything about your influence or translates to sales. Later on in that skincare company, we actually collaborated with a lot more micro-influencers, so anywhere from like 1,000 to maybe like 10,000 following. And we've seen a sale increased at that point because these micro-influencers just had a way tighter relationship to the people that were actually following them, which resulted in actual sales. So only because you have 500,000 followers doesn't mean that if you collaborate with the company, the product will be flying off the shelves. It's really more about who's engaged and who's really listening to your recommendations. This myth leads to what I call just chasing clout. Small business owners and solopreneurs, they all of a sudden start focusing on these vanity metrics. Like they need to hit a certain follower milestone rather than creating meaningful connection with their audience. So it's more about showing up online, creating meaningful connections with your audience, really understanding them and turning them into brand advocates at best if you want to increase sales. But just going out there and chasing clout because you think the more followers you have, the better you look, that's just not the way to do it. The truth is, quality always wins over quantity. The reality is, you can have 20 followers and still make money if those followers are super engaged and aligned with your brand. So it's all about quality of your audience. Are they genuinely interested in your recommendations? Are they interested in your offer? Do they care about what you have to say? And then, of course, it's also how you position yourself online. Are you seen as someone who is credible in your niche? And the strategies you use, are you leveraging ads? Are you doing email marketing, direct marketing? Are you sliding into someone's DMs effectively? So is your engagement strategies up to par? And a smaller, highly engaged audience will always outperform a larger audience, a larger disengaged audience when it comes to driving sales and conversions. But how can you shift your focus from chasing followers, chasing the cloud, to building meaningful connections? You want to encourage your audience to take action. So whether it's commenting on your post, sharing your post, or signing up for your email list. You want to build a relationship with your audience by responding to their comments, by responding to their questions, by responding to their direct messages, and you want to show your audience that you care about them. Also, focus on content that delivers value. So, for instance, that educates your audience, that entertains your audience, and that solves a problem that your audience is having. You provide value, your followers will naturally gravitate towards you and ask for support. And last but not least, myth number 5. Organic reach is dead. Organic reach is dead. That is a widespread misconception. If you've been on social media for any length of time, you've probably noticed a decline in engagement. Maybe you receive fewer likes, comments, shares compared to what you used to get. And now you combine that with a constant algorithm change, and it's easy to believe why people say organic reach is dead. But here's the thing, organic reach is not dead, it's just different. When you look at platforms such as Instagram and Facebook, they have changed significantly over the past few years in terms of how their content is shown to users. It's no longer about simply posting and hoping your followers see it, but now it's about playing to the strength of each platform. So whether that's using Reels or leveraging trending audio or really understanding how TikTok prioritizes content. Engagement drops. It can feel like the platform is truly working against you. But that's not the whole story. Believing that organic reach is dead can be extremely disencouraging to small business owners, individuals, content creators, everyone who's just starting out. So you might be spending hours creating a post only to get 5 likes. And instead of celebrating those 5 likes, to you, that feels like a personal failure. It leaves you frustrated. And trust me, I have been there. It's frustrating to put so much effort into content if you see very little results, but you were hoping for much more. But the truth is, it's not the platform that's failing you, it's how you approach it. If you understand each platform and if you understand the strength of the platform, you will see that organic reach is very much alive. I've seen it and I've changed strategies in the past because posts got little engagement. So I started to analyze the platform, what is working on the platform, where does the platform want creators to be. And so, for instance, Instagram or TikTok, especially Instagram, it's about just embracing Reels, it's embracing video content. On TikTok, it's about embracing trending audio and creating these these videos that people just want to consume. The truth is that organic reach is all about understanding the platform and creating content that resonates with your audience on those platforms. So on platforms like TikTok and YouTube Shorts, organic is very much thriving. Both platforms prioritize content that captures their attention quickly, whether it's through trending audio or compelling storytelling. So by jumping on this trend and creating reels for educational purposes, for entertainment purposes, or you want to inspire your audience, that can really help you to get more eyeballs on your content and to grow your channels. The key is to focus on what works on each individual platform and to stay up to date with that platform and to stay consistent with that platform. So how can you improve your organic reach? You want to tailor your content to each platform. And tailoring your content means you have to understand what content is consumed on the platform, what content is preferred on the platform, and the style of content. So when we think about reels, do people prefer a closed caption? Do they prefer fast edits? Music. How should I talk to someone? You need a hook in the video. You need to jump on trends. You need to use trending audience. All of this can really help you. And of course, jumping on trends doesn't mean you have to dance or you have to lip sync. It's all about what trend fits into your brand. And when you create content that speaks directly to your audience and to your audience's needs. Viral moments are great. If you have a viral video, congrats, that's amazing. But viral videos is not something that you just get every single day. Instead, you should focus on creating meaningful connections with your audience. You should be vulnerable. You should open up. You should really embrace storytelling. And first and foremost, you need to celebrate the small wins. So let's say you get 5 likes or you get 20 views. Maybe you really helped one person that saw your video. And you should always remember, it just takes one person that thinks, wow, this was really helpful. So don't think you need 100, 200 likes. Celebrate the small victories. And when I first started experimenting with TikTok, I didn't expect much. But by creating short, value-packed videos that resonated with my audience, I saw one video gained thousands of views overnight. And it wasn't because I had a huge following, it was because the content hit the mark. So platforms like TikTok and YouTube Shorts, they offer incredible opportunities for organic growth, but you have to be willing to adapt and create content that is tailored to that platform's audience. So next time, if you hear someone saying organic reach is dead, you can think to yourself, organic reach is not dead, it's just different. You really have to understand the social media platforms and the audience on the platform and what they like to consume. So of course, it takes a little bit of time to digging into a platform and to really become an so-called expert in the platform. And of course, I don't want you to be alone. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed or stressed out about any of those 5 myths that I just told you about. So if you feel like you need help in creating digital ads and creating online ads, in creating organic content, or just coming up with a content strategy, you can reach out to me. This is what I do on a day-to-day basis. I help business owners just like you getting started, growing their accounts, or even making more money. So reach out to me at nina@thesocialwisdom, nina@thesocialwisdom.com. Send me an email. Let's get in touch and see how I can help you. And this also led us yet again to another episode of the Content Marketing Cheat Sheet podcast. I'm so glad you tuned in today, and I cannot wait to see you next week. Until then, goodbye. How we say in Germany, auf Wiedersehen.